there you are, YouTube. Do subscribe if you're interested. Also, no pressure, but if you'd like to, it'd be very much appreciated. Hey, the Oscars are a week from today. In fact, they're like a week from this moment. The Oscars would be on right now if we were a week into the future. And because of that, we are doing random rankings that are Oscar themed. I'm picking from my Best Picture collection beside me over here. I'm picking 3 movies from that collection at random and then ranking those movies from most favorite to least favorite. I'll rank them here in the video, and if you'd like to rank them in the comments below, please feel free to do so. And you know what? I have been doing them from like the entire Best Picture winner list, right? All the way from the 20s to Coda. So I think what I'm going to do now is sort of move things a little bit more recent, maybe like 80s to present, and that way more people can participate, because a lot of people haven't seen the older movies, which is totally understandable. It took me a long time to see them. I didn't see them until I was, in my early mid-20s. So, I get that. So I wanna make it so more people can participate in this. So let's get to picking some Best Picture winners. Just gonna close my eyes here. Ooh, this one feels like a book, which means I think I know what it is, because I think I have 3 pieces of physical media in this collection that do feel like like a book. Just lost my train of thought there for a second. Okay, here we go. What do we got? All right. Okay. I know one of these is going to be really easy. Well, 2 of them actually. Actually, this is a very easy list for me. But let's get to going here. Okay, first we have Argo. This one feels very like, is it a studio film? Yeah, I was going to say, I think it's a Warner Brothers movie. It feels like a very studio Best Picture winner, which is cool. I always think that's awesome when that happens, when it's not like some sort of indie darling. It's really cool when a studio can come in and make a movie. I know maybe that sounds like backwards, like, you should be rooting for the underdog. But studios sometimes are the underdog when it comes to like critics groups and things like that in the Oscar season. These days, not always, but, movies have this like trajectory to where it's like critics love it, and then they're sort of building this narrative, and then the movie becomes unstoppable. And here we just have like a studio movie, and it just feels kind of like a 90s Best Picture winner in a way, which is kind of cool. What I really like about this movie, though, is there is, in the end credits, we see Star Wars action figures, right? So Annie Hall famously beat Star Wars, A New Hope, but Star Wars at the time, for Best Picture. So I always thought it was kind of cool that Star Wars is in this movie. Therefore, sure, Star Wars did not win Best Picture, but Oscar completists, Best Picture completists, people like me who watch every single Best Picture winner that has ever won, are still going to see Star Wars in this movie, represented through the action figures. Also, Planet of the Apes, not a Best Picture nominee, but a movie I love very much. So let's say people are unfamiliar with the Planet of the Apes films, they will become familiar, the originals, they'll become familiar through this movie, and I absolutely love that. So even though, while I think this is a pretty generic win, I like that it's a studio movie, I like that it has Star Wars in it, and I like that it has the Planet of the Apes in it. So because of that, I do like this movie. And it's interesting, the title is interesting, because Argo is the title of the movie in which, is the title of a fake movie, which this movie is about the like production of. I'm not going to get into the whole plot, but it's interesting because the title of this movie is Argo, but the fake movie that doesn't actually exist within this movie is titled Argo. Kind of, I don't know, kind of has like some sort of weird Inception layers or something like that to me. Next, we have Out of Africa, and this is actually my second to last favorite Best Picture winner of all time. I would like to watch it again as a man in my late 30s, because the last time I watched this, I was probably like 30, somewhere around there. Just got married, so who knows what age I was. I don't know, 9 years ago or something. So I should know those dates a little better, shouldn't I? But yeah, the last time I watched this and the previous time, I think I've only seen this one 2 times. I don't think I've given it another shot, but I would like to give it another shot because maybe I would like it. You know, you have Robert Redford looking handsome. You have Meryl Streep. She's all right in it, but I don't know. It's just kind of a slog of a movie a little bit for me. I do think, though, I did appreciate it more my second viewing than my first viewing, but I'm wondering, would a third movie make it better? There is this like one spot with like this rear projection special effect that happens with Meryl Streep where everything behind her is looking very fake. It's like she's standing in front of a movie screen and it looks very poor. And I was just like, oh gosh, that's in a Best Picture winner. But, you know, you use what you had at the time. But yeah, to me, this one is not... I don't know, for some reason I always think of this movie and The English Patient together, and I prefer The English Patient. Plus, I just kind of love Kristen Scott Thomas. I think she's a gorgeous, beautiful woman. Love her. And, you know, Meryl Streep's Meryl Streep, but she's not, you know, Kristen Scott Thomas, right? So, yeah, you know, I don't know. For some reason, I always think of those movies at the same time, for some reason, and I'm always like, I like The English Patient more. So, yeah, I don't know. But, I don't know. Second to least favorite Best Picture winner, if I'm ranking them all, like every single one. Next, we have Schindler's List. I mean, this is one of the greatest Best Picture winners ever made. In terms of like favorite, when I'm thinking of every factor, craft, enjoyability, rewatchability, things like that, this isn't my favorite, but that's because this movie is very difficult to watch, right? The rewatchability factor is very tough. It's a tough movie to get through, but it is a great movie. I remember when I was a kid, this movie was shown on TV, commercial free, and that was a big deal. I remember them really advertising that, and yeah, it's. I remember going to school the next day, and everybody was talking about it. Was it a 2-day event? Did they separate it in 2 parts? I don't know. I might be making that part up right now in my head, but for some reason I feel like I remember that. But there were a lot of like little specials and things that were going on when I was a kid on like NBC and all those networks that they'd separate, you know, something into two days or something. I can't. Maybe this was a 1-day thing, but yeah, I just remember everybody going to school the next day talking about it. And yeah, very powerful movie, very emotional film, very difficult film, but a fantastic quality movie. And it's made by Steven Spielberg, my favorite director, one of the greatest directors of all time in my opinion. And my other hat right there, there you see Steven Spielberg hidden in the sweat lines. Can you see him? There he is. Steven Spielberg right there from the Animaniacs. But yeah, great film. So what are we going to do here? I think what we're going to do is pretty clear for me. This is an easy one. I'm going to go Schindler's List, #1. This is a #1 all-timer here. And then I'm going to go Argo. Even though I feel like it's kind of generic, it has a lot of awesome things going for it. And then I'm going to go Out of Africa, one of my least favorite Best Picture winners of all time. My second to last favorite Best Picture winner of all time. So, but again, I haven't gone through all of them. I mean, you know, in like 9 years, probably more like 8 years. So it's been a while since I've seen Out of Africa, and I've only seen it twice. But anyway, this is my ranking right here. Schindler's List, then Argo, then Out of Africa. My question to you is, have you seen these movies? And if so, what do you think of them? And if you've seen all 3, how would you rank them? I'd love to know. Let me know in the comments below. And perhaps I'll see you tomorrow for more Pure Hangout.